Dear students, we are again back with another new topic, and this time we will discuss about the company meetings. Company meetings, when we are talking of, there are different types of meetings, and mainly we divide the meetings into two categories. One meeting of the shareholders, one meeting of the board members. So the meetings, as you can find, again it can be divided into different categories. So let us say the meeting in broad categories, let us say there are three types of meetings. So broadly we categorize as three types, like board meetings, which is the meeting of the board of directors. Then second type of meeting is the meeting of the shareholders, members, that is called the members meeting. And in the members meeting, again, first category is the general meeting. General meeting indicates that it again is divided or subdivided into three categories. One is a statutory meeting, which is conducted only once in the lifetime of the company, and it is conducted by the public limited companies. And second is annual general body meeting. Annual general body meeting is conducted every year. Every year it is compulsory, it is statutory, and it is to be conducted. Then extraordinary general meeting, which is in between two annual general body AGM. Between two AGM, you conduct one extraordinary general meeting. And apart from that, another meeting of the shareholders, that is called the class meeting. Class meeting is relating to different class of shareholders, like equity shareholders, preferential shareholders. So meeting, whatever we discuss meetings, that usually it is of the equity shareholders. And other class meeting also, preferential shareholders, they can conduct a meeting. Apart from that, other meetings are also there. Maybe there is a meeting of the debenture holders, or maybe there is a meeting of the creditors. So these are different types of meetings, and we will discuss one by one. We will go ahead with one by one. The first meeting is coming around, that is the board meeting. Board meeting, it is said that it has to be conducted in every quarter. Every 3 months there should be a board meeting. And the notice of the meeting has to be 7 days clear notice. So the notice has to be given 7 days clear notice. That means the date of the meeting and the issue of the notice date is not taken. In between there should be 7 days notice. And if at all, if they want that there should be a meeting in between, or they want to call a meeting in between, then there are certain provisions under section 173 how another board meeting, if it is required, can be called before the expiry of the 3 months. Usually it is taken quarterly, and in a year there should be at least 4 meetings. 4 meetings are to be conducted. And this meeting is usually conducted where the registered office is situated, and the information relating to this has to be sent to the directors in their address. And the directors can also attend the meeting by video conferencing. Earlier provisions were not there. Now there is a provision of video conferencing, where one director is outside, he can also attend the meeting by video conferencing. So the meeting that we are conducting, but it is always a written notice are to be sent, and this written notice has to reach the director, and that is the duty of the person who is sending. The company secretary takes the responsibility of this. So the duty of the person to do that. Then the place of the meeting, as I told, that is the registered office. Usually it is decided that wherever is the registered office, there the meeting is to be conducted. Then second category of meeting, that is the meeting of the members. Members means the shareholders. So we usually consider the shareholders, particularly the equity shareholders. So equity shareholders, for them, and this is the meeting. And again it is subdivided into three categories. And there is a statutory meeting, there is a annual general body meeting, and there is a extraordinary general meeting. So three categories, subdivisions are there in this general meeting. Statutory meeting, as I told you earlier, that it is conducted once in the lifetime of a public limited company. Private limited companies are excluded. So public limited company, they have to hold a statutory meeting. It is compulsory for them to hold a statutory meeting because they have to issue shares to public. The basic purpose of this statutory meeting, that there are certain matters, two basic matters regarding the rotation of or floating of shares and debentures of the company, and modification, any kind of changes to be made in the prospectus. So how the prospectus will be prepared, how the prospectus will be issued to the public, and what are the things that will be included, whether it is correct or not, all these things have to be verified. And also there are conditions relating to issue of shares and debentures of the company. So this is the basic thing which is there. And also there are certain things which are also discussed in the statutory meeting. There are a number of things which are discussed in this meeting. And the notice relating to the statutory meeting, it says there should be at least 21 days of clear notice. That means the date of the issue of the notice and the date of the meeting is excluded, and 21 clear days of notice that is given. And if at all, that usually the statutory meeting is called within 6 months from the date of commencement of business, because after the statutory meeting the issue of shares and other things will go on. So they call this meeting within 6 months, and this meeting is conducted with a statutory report. Along with the meeting, when you issue the circular or issue the notice regarding the meeting, along with the meeting there should be a statutory report. In the statutory report, it is a mandatory thing, it is a statutory report. So along with the notice, the statutory report has to go, and this statutory report has to be verified by the directors of the company. They should verify it. It should also be verified by the auditor of the company, and a copy of that, and also it has to be checked by a chartered accountant. So that means 3 people are involved: the directors, the people, managing director and other directors, they will verify it. Apart from that, it will also be certified by a chartered accountant. It will also be verified by the auditor, because the financial statements are involved. That is why the auditor is also involved in this process. And the copy of this statutory report has to be submitted to the register of companies. Without that, the meeting cannot be called, because this is compulsory, because this is a minimum requirement. Now let us see what are the things usually which is there in a statutory meeting or in a statutory report. So in a statutory report there are certain things which comes up. So as per the Act, the Companies Act 2013, it says, as per this Act, it says the total number of shares allotted and the total number of cash received relating to the shares and other things, relating to the allotment, whatever money they are going to receive or they have already received, and abstract of the receipt and payment, whatever is done regarding and also the balance sheet, if it is there, whatever the balance sheet is there, that has to be also shown. And along with that, any commission or discount paid or to be paid on issue or sale of shares or debentures. Apart from that, the name, address, occupation of directors, that has to be there, including the company secretary, manager, everybody. Particulars of any contract to be submitted in the meeting for approval. And if the company entered into any underwriting contract, then that also has to be included there. And if there are any arrears relating to call money and other things, that should also be appearing here. And particulars of any commission, brokerage to be paid or already paid, that has to be there. And it has to be certified by the auditor of the company. It has also to be certified by a chartered accountant. So that is the minimum thing which has to be there. So statutory report, with the statutory report, the statutory meeting is conducted, and it is conducted only once. After that, the other meetings like AGM and extraordinary meetings are conducted. So it is only compulsory, statutory meeting is only compulsory for the public limited company, but not for the one-man company or a small company, or for the private companies it is not required. Now coming to the main meeting, that is called the annual general meeting, the annual general body meeting of the shareholders. And this AGM, annual general meeting, and comes under section 96 of the Act, it is there. So this meeting is most important for the shareholders. All the shareholders are to be intimated, and the first AGM is usually conducted 18 months. Within 18 months it has to be conducted. After that it has to be conducted within 15 months. So first AGM is conducted 18 months, next AGMs are conducted within 15 months. And if there is any difficulty in holding the meeting within 15 months, then in that case, the register of companies must be intimated, and the reason for this has to be there, and register of company will also grant extension for the holding of the meeting. And usually the notice period is 21 days. 21 days of notice is given, and if at all it is required, then actually the 21 days is clear 21 days of notice that is required. And the notice of the meeting should accompany a copy of the annual accounts, because the AGM is one of the most important meeting of the shareholders. It is, we are holding, or the companies are holding once in a year, and that is why the statement of accounts, audited statement of accounts, has to be there in the AGM. Then second thing which has to accompany the notice of this AGM is the director's report. The directors will give report relating to the functioning of the company, how the company is running and other things. And then auditor's report. So audited statements, the income statement, financial statements, balance sheet, everything has to be there. Then the report from directors, how the company is performing. Then the report from the auditor, what are the compliances that has not been completed, or what are the things still pending because the directors have not given, or any doubt, any suspicion of accounts, financial position, anything. So that regarding that the auditor has to give a report on that. Along with that there will be a proxy form, and this proxy form has to reach at least 48 hours before the meeting. So anybody on behalf of a person who is a member can attain. So he may not be a member, but he will attain on behalf of another member, and there is a proxy form. The member of the company has to sign the proxy form, and accordingly the name of the person will be given. He will show his identity and attend the meeting. He can vote in the meeting. He has got a right to attend the meeting and vote in the meeting on the basis of the shareholders voting powers, number of shareholdings. So on that basis the voting powers are there, and that can be done. And in AGM, what are the business transacted? So there are different business which are transacted in the AGM. So with the notice of AGM, you find that the statements of accounts, the auditor's statements, the director's report along with a proxy form are sent. Then in the AGM, in the meeting, the certain things which are done. Let us see. So first, the final accounts, the consolidated statement of final accounts, that has to be approved. The balance sheet, profit loss account, that has to be approved. And the report of the directors, any good report, bad report, report of the directors has to be approved. Then the report of the auditor has to be approved. Second thing, that they have to decide how much dividend they are going to declare. The shareholders, they have to decide the amount of dividend they are going to, or the percentage of dividend they are going to declare on equity shareholders. Then they have to decide the appointment or reappointment of directors, because in a public limited company the directors, they are appointed by rotation. At least 1/3 of the directors, they will retire by rotation. Then they may be reappointed, or new people may be appointed in their place. So every time the process continues in the AGM. And there is also a process, if the auditor is retiring, then new auditor may be appointed, or the retiring auditor may be appointed again. Then appointment and fixation of the what is the remuneration of the statutory auditor, that has to be done. Reappointment or appointment of the auditor, then their remuneration has to be decided or fixed in the meeting. And any other business which is to be decided there, and there is an explanatory statement. If they want that some other business can be conducted in the meeting, then in that case they have to attach one explanatory statement stating the purpose of the special business. We call it as a special business. So this is not an ordinary business. Ordinary business is the declaration of dividend, appointment of director, appointment of auditor, or final accounts, discussion relating to final account. These are ordinary business. But special business which are conducted, and for that a special notice are to be given to the people who are attending or to the shareholders who are attending. If at all the general body meeting is not conducted, usually what happens, if the annual general body meeting is not conducted, if the directors are not calling the AGM or the secretary of the company is not calling the AGM, in that case, then there is a particular person or a member of the company, he can apply to National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, that he wants that the company has already, the time period has lapsed, but the company is not calling any meeting. So we want one meeting has to be convened or meeting has to be called. And for that purpose, he will ask or he will request the Company Law Tribunal to ask for conducting a meeting. Upon receiving this, the NCLT will write to the company for calling the AGM. And after that, the meeting will be called. And they will be compelled to call the meeting. Even in spite of that, it is not possible to call the meeting, and if they are not going to fix, because of whatever reason they are not going to fix, and there may be a penalty. The law says there is a penalty up to 1 lakh, and it is to be paid by the company or the officers of the company who are negligent of doing this. So the people who are negligent of doing this, they are to be punished up to 1 lakh rupees. Then come to the next type of meeting, that is extraordinary general meeting. It comes under section 100, and it says all general meetings which are not called annual general body meeting are called extraordinary general meeting. And these meetings are actually, one meeting we discussed, statutory meeting, that is within 6 months it is conducted. Then within 8 months of the incorporation or 8 months of the commencement of the business, they go for the AGM, and after that any other meeting they are conducting, they are called extraordinary general meeting of the shareholders. Then this type of meetings are being conducted, as I mentioned, as per the section 100 it is conducted, and such meetings are usually called by the board of directors on emergency basis wherever it is required. Suppose they decide that they should be paying some kind of interim dividend. Suppose any other decision relating to the company has to be taken, and those decisions require the approval of the shareholders. So those meetings can be done. So these are called special business, and there will be an explanatory statement. So there will be an explanatory statement of the special business that must be attached to the notice, and this notice must go to all the members and they will decide on that. In the extraordinary general meeting, then question comes, who can call this extraordinary general meeting? The board of directors, they can call the extraordinary general meeting. And apart from that, board on requisition, some of the members, suppose they request that we want a meeting to be held and we want that we should sit together to discuss certain issues, these are the problems which are coming up. So keeping that in view, an extraordinary general body meeting can be called. So this meeting can also be called on requisition by the members, either by the directors or by the members, that also can be called. And also sometimes government can ask to conduct some kind of meeting like this depending on the company. So many cases in different grounds the meeting can be called, but it has got a specification that one extraordinary general body meeting comes in between. It is an interim period between two annual general body meetings, and this meeting is called by the board, by the members, or by the government, or by the nominees of the directors, nominees, other people. So they can call it on requisition. So they will ask the directors, they will ask the company to call this meeting, and this meeting is convened. Sometimes it may so happen because some kind of irregularities are happening. So to avoid those things that comes to the light, the company law tribunal So that can also call this. They can also convene. They can also ask the company to call an extraordinary meeting, extraordinary general meeting for the purpose. And the directors, when they are doing it, actually they do on a particular procedure, and this procedure is written under the section 100 as per the company law. It is there, so they have to fulfill those criteria. They have to call as per the criteria of that. And another thing which comes here, that usually the time period given is 21 days time period, and this 21 days has to be fulfilled. The notice period is 21 days notice period. That is the usually things. But suppose they want it that it should be called before 21 days, emergency is there, then majority of the shareholders or majority of the directors must agree to that. Depending on the situation, they must agree to that. In that case, it can be called. So these are the things relating to the general meeting of the shareholders. And in the next portion, or in the next part, we will discuss about the other meetings like the class meeting. We will also discuss the meeting of the debenture holders. We will also discuss the meeting of the creditors, and also other aspects of the meeting we will discuss. So till then, okay, thank you and goodbye.